Yo, what is up, my dudes? I'm back with another video. This one's gonna be around 8 minutes. As I wanted to talk about something that's really interesting about the Danganronpa series and my second newest game, Death End Request 2, is the theme around the characters' deaths. And that is, they usually have a character arc with that particular character before they actually die. Similar to Great Gozu, he was the one protecting Naegi before he was killed, and then Vina in Death End, ignore my friend outside, he just revved his engine, and then Vina from Death End Request 2, she had her arc, and yeah, she was obviously the first one killed by breaking curfew and everything. And people can agree that Great Gozu, ignore that. That Great Gozu deserved more screen time and everything, which I actually agree, and I actually felt I actually felt that way about Vina. He would have loved to see what kind of crazy antics she would have gotten to with my Toyama later in the game. Unfortunately, because the game's format similar to Danganronpa, yeah, she was the first one dead, which I didn't like because I really enjoyed her a lot. And another character that I will go into is Ruruka, as she had her arc. She had her whole arc in Danganronpa 3, the future arc, before she had eventually was killed off as well. And that brings me to another similar death in Death End Request 2, to make it again similar to the Danganronpa series, and that death would be Chitsubi, I think her name was. She was this yandere type girl. Yep, her name was Chitsubi, which I'm surprised I actually just pulled that name out of my brain, because it's been like a few months since I even played, since I went through that game, since I went through Death End Request 2, so I've lost some of the characters' names, and surprisingly, her name I still remember, my brain had just randomly, boop, actually picked it up, surprisingly that I remembered it. So Chitsubi, her arc was actually really dark as well, before she was also killed off by other means, which I will get into right now. Her arc was was her I'm getting paranoid about her lover actually betraying her, and she even Chitsubi even thought that her lover had a thing for her Midra, which I personally hate Midra, which I will explain why later. There's another character's arc's death, later in the game, which I will probably get into, and to which Chitsubi, he freaked out over, her lover possibly betraying her in the end. And yeah, this death was actually really shocking. I did not know why she did it, but then I had actually put the pieces together and stuff, and now it makes a lot more sense. Yeah, Chitsubi, she drowned her lover in this, I think it was like a pond or a lake or something, and then the twist comes in. You fight this shadow matter form that has the same exact speech pattern as Chitsubi, and that got me thinking, whoa, did she become a shadow matter? And later on, it's revealed that yes, she did become a shadow matter and stuff, which eventually she dies as well due to Mai's party defeating her in her shadow matter form. And off topic, she actually made fake out as well, and if you choose to spare her on that fake out, you're pretty much dead. So yeah, that's a thing. You're pretty much forced to kill Chitsuba, or her Chitsubi. It's either Chitsubi or Chitsuba, I forget. But yeah, you're forced to kill her, and yeah, her character arc basically ends there with a pretty dark tone of her killing her lover, by the way, which just, oh, that was just so dark. I wondered why so badly. Like, why did she do that? And then, you put the pieces, together, and I'm like, oh, well, that makes a lot more sense. And another person's arc was Kimura's from, Danganronpa 3, the future arc, and of course, she eventually dies as well. And then the elephant, the third elephant in the room, one of the deaths that made my stomach actually churn, and my freaking this death, I literally felt glass shatter with my heart with this one, which it wasn't as bad as Venus or Mai's. But yeah, the third elephant in the room, is Shinna. Shinna's death was probably one of the most brutal deaths in Death End Request 2, as Midra, the sadist that she is, and there is no other word to really call her because she's literally a sadist, she and her cult members tortured Shinna to death to sacrifice to Marbus. And when I say she's a sadist, I mean that in the most literal way possible, as her death was not fast. It was slow. It was agonizing. It was torturous. It literally made my blood almost churn, or chill my blood, dude, when I heard and went through the scene. Of course, it was not as bad as Vena's or Mai's deaths, as those made me feel a lot worse personally, because I have more connections with them than I do Shinna. But Shinna's was definitely a top 3 for me. Her death was easily a top 3 on shock value and heart felt value and stuff, which, yeah, I freaking hated Midra a lot more after this, but yeah, that is some similarities between the Danganronpa series and then the Death End Request 2 game, which is ironic. But that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, until next time, peace out, guys.